This is not legal advice to anybody who's watching this. It's just two lawyers having a conversation. If you want specific legal advice, you got to contact a lawyer who's licensed in your jurisdiction.
The $5,000 to $10,000 range is normally what you would try to expect if you have some things there that you're really wanting to make sure that there's no question in your mind that the other side knows about, that you've done the disclosure. That's number one in Florida. People will bail. They will talk to me and they'll be like, I want a prenup. And I'm like, all right, well, you gotta provide everything. You gotta be transparent, because that's what Florida's looking at. They're like,
right.
Never mind. never mind. So,
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. All right. So that's a great question. It's a broad question I get all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get a prenup off the internet and it's going to get set aside, I've done it many times. I've gone into a divorce situation and opposing counsel will have to tell their client, look, he's going to set this aside. It's not worth the 10 grand to litigate the validity of his prenup, because the divorce doesn't go forward until the validity of the prenup is determined by the court. So if it's upheld, which these prenups off the internet, if you buy a prenup off the internet, you don't even know if a high school student wrote it. You don't know if it's good law. You don't know if they use the same prenuptial boilerplate for all 50 states. And each state has its own statutory requirements and its case law about what's a valid prenup. So here's just a sample of a prenup that I drafted recently. It's about 60 pages, and it wasn't overly complicated, but there were a lot of issues that we needed to deal with. One person owned a house, and the other one was going to come live with her in her house, and she wanted all the proceeds from the house, let's say, to be hers alone if the house was sold. So there's all these things that we needed to put in there. Now, this has no exhibits, and it's 60 pages.
Ooh.
As William said,
Nice.
The biggest kryptonite is people don't give full and fair disclosure, and that will invalidate a prenup in most jurisdictions. So if you have a lot of assets, but the other side really doesn't know how many, but let's say you had $10 million in real estate and in liquid assets and everything combined, you have to tell the other side all of it. And you should be appending a lot of that to your prenup. And the way that it's drafted is going to help it be upheld in the unfortunate but likely event you guys go your separate ways. So if you don't want the other side to know what you're really worth or what you're expecting to inherit, don't get married. It's that simple. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So they cost several $1,000s and up. I've never done a prenup. Usually the one that wants it drafted pays a little more, and the opposing counsel on the other side, that person's bill is a little less because they're not doing the heavy lifting. Yeah. They're just doing the reviewing. So, but the one that's drafting it, they're all different. No two prenups are exactly alike. And if you use somebody else's or a boilerplate prenup, you have a nice paperweight. It's going to get set aside. You're going to get a smart lawyer on the other side that finds it a certain number of defects where it can't be upheld. So if you can't afford the right kind of prenup and you have assets, don't get married if you're worried about it. Look, it sounds counterintuitive. A divorce lawyer telling you not to get married. But the purpose of this and a lot of my videos is we'd rather see you live your best life than go through the anguish of a divorce. So great question.